Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Randy Major with Rockerz Inc. Today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about us and what it is we do. Rockerz Inc. specializes in the polishing of concrete flooring. The idea of polished concrete is a natural evolution of other stone surfaces, such as marble and granite. The actual process of polishing concrete was brought to the United States in the late 1990s from Europe. The high polishing of stone was developed after our ancestors in Europe noticed that natural stone in many buildings and in places of worship started to get a gloss after years of foot traffic. This traffic mildly abraded the surfaces over time to create the semi-gloss effect, and polishing as we know it today is basically an acceleration of this process. Modern polished concrete is like all grind and polish processes, be it wood, steel, or stone. There are three basic mechanical processes in polishing. The process starts with a coarse grind, in which imperfections are removed with a very coarse tooling. The middle processes are considered honing steps, and with this step, the coarse scratch patterns left from prior steps are removed. The last steps are fine tooling polishing, in which the mechanical surface of the floor is made so smooth that light reflects off with a high transference of energy or luminescence. There is one major difference in polishing concrete that other surfaces do not need. With concrete, it is imperative that the surface be extremely scratch resistant for longevity of the polish. To achieve this, products known as densifiers need to be added to the surface to reharden it. The active molecule is silicate or siliconates, and these react to free lime molecules within the Portland cement. We will talk about this part even more a little bit later. Modern concrete is comprised of three different parts: Portland cement, aggregate stone, and water. This mix produces concrete that can be poured, pumped, and placed within forms or walls. Once poured for flooring use, it will then be screeded for consistent height, bull floated to pull cement to surface for smoother finish, and then hand or machine troweled for final surface finishing and left to cure. This curing process involves hydration, in which the lime molecules of the Portland cement react to the water molecules, creating the hard surface we all know of. So this explains how concrete is made, placed, and cured. Now I'll tell you how we polish it. Rockerz Inc. uses planetary machines on concrete slabs, and I will explain to you how these machines profile the surface of a slab to prep it for polish or coatings. When the grinders turn on, the drum will rotate in one direction, while the planetary head will counter-rotate. Combining this with a forward movement of the machine, you will create a cut pattern on the surface, much like a round spirographic pattern, with one laid on top of each other, just millimeters apart. When looking down at these cut patterns, they look like fine lines. These lines are actually shallow grooves cut into the surface. So imagine, if you will, that you shrink down to view this at a miniature ground level. The view would look like mountain peaks in front of mountain peaks as far as the eye can see. So now that we've explained how the machine profiles the floor, we can move on to what happens with sequential tooling cuts that follow. The easiest way to explain this is like cutting the top of a funnel one slice at a time, where we knock the top of the mountain peaks off. This process allows for the removal of past sealers, glues, and underlayment, while at the same time mechanically reducing the surface porosity. Now let's discuss densification. The reaction of this process is a bonding of the silicate to these lime molecules, and the result is a rehardening of the surface of the concrete. See these links regarding further information on this process. Depending on the age of the concrete, the scope of the work, or the customer's specifications, the surface may require more than one application of the densifier. After the surface has taken all the densifier it can absorb, it's time for some fine grinding with resin or ceramic bonded tool. Once completion of the fine grinding is done, we will step the process up to a honing tool. Now the polishing steps begin. It typically requires one lower grip polish, but can take up to 4 or more steps of higher sequence tooling, depending on the customer's needs. Now the floor polishing processes are complete. When requested, an acrylic guard product can be applied to further protect the floor from acidic or alkaline spills that could stain the concrete if it were not protected. I hope you enjoyed this presentation of the Rockerz Inc. polishing process. I'm Randy Major. Thank you for watching. For more information, please visit us at www.rockerzinc.com.